All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you've been enjoying the videos I've been posting lately. I know those of you that are leaving me comments are, for the most part. There's a couple here that are a little negative. You know, and as long as you have a negative comment that you don't spam it, like the same thing over and over again in every channel, you're welcome here. As long as you're not completely insulting, you're welcome here. And I don't mind you disagreeing. I don't mind you being, opposite or contrary to what I think or what a lot of Elvis fans think on this channel or Dairy Matera or anything like that. But the things that I don't allow are the very rude, insulting comments or anything negative about Elvis. You get removed from the channel and then you can't see the video, so it's no big deal. I don't have to see it anymore. I have no problem, like I said, with disagreement, with you thinking sorry, I'm moving away from the camera a little bit, but that you thinking that maybe the story is not real, the Are You Lonesome Tonight story, that is going to be your opinion, and I want you to have your opinion. And if you send me something on the rareelvisphotos@gmail.com that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that this whole story is made up or not real, I will look at it. I see a lot of things you guys send me, and I do a lot of research. I'm going to keep doing this book. I'm going to keep talking with Derry every single week. We found a lot of things that are only in this book that exist. And one of the things that has been talked about recently is the color of Elvis's suit when he went to visit Nixon. And of course, it's a black and white photo. Dairy Matera's argument was that it's the only place that's ever discussed in a book being purple is through Lucy, or at least the first place. And everybody else has it wrong. Well, I went through some searching and digging last night online, and sure enough, there are links to articles from Politico, from the History Channel, that all state Elvis wore a purple suit. There's various variations of it, but one of them was like, the guy that was responsible for, I don't know if it was Bud Crow or the other guy, but he talked about Elvis's purple suit. Now, we're not even to that point in this book yet, 1973. So I'm jumping ahead, but what I'm saying is if you guys are sending me stuff that's opposite of what the book states and how, and that's the whole reason the whole book is a lie, sort of a thing, I'm going to look into it. The whole John Wayne thing. One of the great users of this channel, subscribers of this channel, sent me a link to an article about John Wayne staying at a little motel outside of town, quite a ways outside of town, so he didn't have to stay in town while the filming was happening. Nobody knew about it, and this was not even out there in the public until I think 2020, 2021, something like that. So let's get into some more reading. I had to shut the camera off for a second, so I hope I didn't completely lose my train of thought. But what I'm trying to say is that, hey, if you're an Elvis fan, you belong on this channel, whether you agree with this book or not. This is just one of the many books that I'm going to be reading. I've been reading Elvis Cathy, Child Bride, From Here to the Great Unknown, The Faith of Elvis, Inside Elvis, My Army Days with Elvis. But what this story is, and Derry says this very succinctly when we do these interviews, when this book came out, there was a bunch of trash about Elvis. Negative stuff. Albert Goldman's Elvis book. And it was a very positive, sweet picture of Elvis Presley. Now, a lot of people don't want to believe it, and that's your prerogative. Absolute DNA proof is never going to happen, I don't believe, because it would have to be Elvis and Lucy that actually gave the DNA to to Desiree. Anything else could have issues, and people are saying, oh, Billy Smith, his cousins are agreeing to give DNA. I don't know about that. Billy's not reached out to me about this. As far as I know, Billy hasn't reached out to Desiree or Derry. So it's just conjecture. It's stuff that's put online that I haven't seen any facts to back it up. So let's continue reading Are You Lonesome Tonight? Where we left off was Elvis going to the Beverly Hills Hotel. Well, he had called Lucy, and after a couple of months of marrying Priscilla, and desperately had found her and desperately wanted to meet her, and so he asked for her to come to L.A. And people are researching that. Supposedly, there was a recording session in August I think, than what I've seen in the comments, that would fit the description of when Lucy went out there. I'm sorry. So let's read. August of 67. Okay. That's where we started from. Well, yesterday we read through all that. So let's continue here. I guess I put it in the wrong spot. I'm sorry. So let's go. Try but it hurt. All right, here we go. This is where it was. And we're gonna go back a paragraph or two. Okay. So he said it was best. Her parents were getting pretty mad. I do care for her, Lucy. I thought I'd never see her again. So this is where we left off. It's good to see you, El. Mon amour, I said, breaking the ice. I missed you so much. Mon Desiree, he whispered. He walked over to me at the bed and sat down on the edge. He clutched both of my hands as he spoke. I thought I'd never see you again. I used to lie awake and wonder exactly how you died. I called a few times, all the old places like the TV station and the store, making up a story about who I was. Some people said you ran away with a singer, but I knew that wasn't true because I must have been a singer. Some others said you died in a snowstorm, but nobody knew for sure, so I kept calling, even after I came back from Germany. Then one day, someone at the store told me they'd heard that you'd married a Texas oil man, and that really hurt, baby. Knowing you got married, I tried to hate you. Before, when I was in Germany, a friend brought this little girl over one day. When I saw her, I couldn't believe my eyes. She looked so much like you, Lucy, and she was all I had. I put my hand to his mouth. Shh, you don't have to tell me. I know you brought her to Graceland to be your wife, and that hurt me very much knowing you'd gone back on our vows. The pain hasn't gone away. My marriage is a marriage of convenience, as we call it. It was security for my children. You had your life set by then, so nothing mattered. Lucy, you must listen to me. That little girl was so much like you, and I was so lonely over there. I was attracted to her, and she liked me as a person, not a star, like the way you did. Elvis was anguished, and there had to be something else wrong, but I didn't want to put him through it. You don't have to explain. Yes, I do. You deserve that. I knew if you were still alive and you cared. Our love was different. I don't know. You were gone and Mama died. I used to moan like a sick animal at night and cry myself to sleep. Lucy, I needed somebody. All those girls in Hollywood, the guys wanted me to be with, they just used me. They had no feeling. I needed somebody else, and I couldn't find you. So all I had was the girl in Germany. When she came, I couldn't get myself to marry her. I kept thinking of you, and I got trapped because the colonel suddenly arranged the marriage. He said it was best. Her parents were getting pretty mad, and I do care for her, Lucy. I thought I'd never see you again. Well, neither of us knew what to say, and we were silent a long time. And I believe we actually read that part. So this is about where we left off. But like I said in the last reading, doesn't that jive with what we read in Child Bride here? Doesn't that? This book was written 12 years later than this. Doesn't that jive with Cary Grant's story? It does. El, I said, touching his face with my hand, it's your turn to listen to my story. It's been so long. There were so many things that you never knew about. Like, I used to be beaten, sometimes very badly. When he found out about you, well, he almost took my life. Then he said that you would be gone within a week if I ever saw you again. As in, taking his life. I had to go because I couldn't risk that, not just for me, but for everyone. It was apparent even then that you were destined to be someone special. I loved you more than life itself, and without you, I'd have no life. But I was just one person. I had to do what was best, not for me, but for everybody. Now things have changed again. You have to stand by your wife. Just pretend I died a long time ago. You must. It's the best thing. No, it's not, he said firmly, shooting up off the bed and waving his hands for expression. I can't let you go now. I still love you. That'll never change. I feel like I'm alive again, Lucy. Elvis, have you ever broken our vow never to tell anyone about me? No, I could never share you with anyone. The story's so complicated, anyways. Who'd believe it? I don't talk to people much. I mean, I talk, but not like with you and Mama. It's different. The only person I talk about with you is God. I prayed that He would let me find you, and He's answered. He sat back down. He was so close to my face, looking into my eyes. Then he kissed me. It was a kiss of love, not lust. It couldn't be allowed to go any further. I mean, we couldn't betray our marriages. I'm sorry, he said. I know you must think I'm unfaithful, but I do love you. How's your marriage? Not good. We're different people. I was divorced and had children. I'm French and Catholic, and it was too much. Too different. But that doesn't matter. You and I can't hurt others because of our mistakes. You have to remember that. What do you mean? His eyes were dark and angry. Something was definitely wrong. Well, you're married and you're going to have a baby. She must never be hurt, especially not now. And there's so many people involved in my life. I've been running and suffering for 10 years. I thought you didn't want me anymore. You had everything. Stop that, Lucy. Didn't you listen to my songs? I told you if we ever separated, I'd send you messages and my songs. Didn't you listen? I tried, but it was hard. It hurt. And there were all those stories about the other women. You're the only woman I ever wanted. There might have been some others, but only a few. It's all a farce, just publicity and image building. Tell me you believe that. The few others, one of those might have been, probably was, Anna Margaret. I wanted to hear you explain it so often, Lisa said. Each time I read about another girlfriend, I finally gave up. Nothing mattered. This was getting gloomy, so I smiled and I changed the subject. Look at us arguing. We never argued before. He laughed and he changed the subject. You remember when you told me to be careful about all those leeches? The ones that would attach themselves to me. Boy, you were right about that. Those people are my friends. There's only a couple who are like Charlie. He's good. I met him in the army. And there's Larry. He's real religious. He's got those gentle eyes. You told me once that eyes are the windows to the soul. Man, the colonel doesn't like Larry. And the colonel don't believe in anything but money. That's his religion. The rest of the guys, they're the same, hard-hearted, but Larry, his eyes remind me of yours. He understands things, and he loves God. He's been helping me. And you know, they're trying to keep him away from me now. Just like they would keep you away from me if they knew. I'm glad you're friends. That's important. What about your wife? Does she care for you? Sometimes, but not always. She's kind of restless and uncertain. She hasn't adapted to my lifestyle, or maybe it's something else. I don't know. Anyway, tell me about you. Well, Elvis, I teach religion to teenagers on Sunday, like Sunday school, but we call it something fancier. Confraternity of the Christian Doctrine. When I lost you, I began studying at night, and I earned a certification. Teaching me gives me satisfaction. You teach people about God? Man, I'd love to do that. We talked some more about Elvis's thoughts on religion. Some of it was confusing, but he was intense about it. He asked why I was living in Dallas and remained married. And I explained again that it was for the children. Why don't you let me help? I got money. You gotta let me help. Let's not talk about that. You know me. If something comes free, it's meaningless. You know that. He got off the bed and began pacing the room. He was wound up about something. My life's so mixed up, and yours too. How'd it get like this? Well, it's just the way it worked out. So what happens now? Will you disappear again? I walked to the window and gazed out at the vines. No more running. I've learned to turn and face my enemies. I'm not a little child anymore, and I'm not going to run away from love. We have to accept our destiny, whatever it is, and be happy. I can't accept anything except our being together, he said. Our lives cross, Lucy said. Our love is written, and no one can erase it. You helped me when I needed help. The memories of you kept me going, and it sustained me. But memories can't hold a person. They don't hug or keep you warm. They can't make love. He came over and embraced me warmly. Lucy said, I fought my urge to want you physically, and I'm still fighting. There are more important things that can still survive, though, like our love, our laughter, our trust. That's not enough. I want more, he whispered. You've touched my life and stayed. Others have come and gone, but you've stayed. I'm selfish. I've tried living without you. I'm tired of it. But I'll pray about it. I'll do that for you, and we'll let God decide. He knows what's best. Isn't that what you always said? Yes, I can't argue with that. I've always believed God brought you to me. We returned to the bed and sat on the edge again. Elvis began talking about other things, rambling a bit, but confirming my suspicions that he was troubled. All this other stuff happening to me, I give myself to the public, and those around me, they try to gain power and control. They can never control my mind. No one gets into my mind. I shut it off from everyone. There are things that none of them know, no matter how close they think they are to me. They don't know me, only you. We'll triumph, Lucy. You'll see. Maybe, I said. Maybe one day. We're not on the final chapter yet. No, but I like to remember those early ones, you know. I'd give anything to start over. It was better then, when I was nobody and I was struggling. It's hard to explain, but it's better to fight. Once I reached the top, it just wasn't fun anymore. I can't figure it out, you know. A lot of what I've done was influenced by you. Really? Yeah, really, he said, teasing me about my frequent use of that word. One day I thought about us riding at the zoo. Remember that? So I decided to buy this ranch. Nobody else was interested in it much, but, you know, the guys wanted to live that fast life in Hollywood. It was a nice place, but once I realized why I bought it, it didn't mean anything. You weren't there. Why didn't you listen to my songs, he continued. I kept thinking you'd hear the words and realize I was talking to you. Once I was singing, I'll remember you, and baby, your face was right there in the studio in front of me. Okay, this is where we gotta stop for just a second. I want to talk about Larry. What he said back here about Parker not wanting Larry in his life. Also, talking good about Charlie. Those are the two that he talked about. Now, who do we think were Elvis's best friends and closest friends? I've always said Charlie and Larry. Now, you can say what you want to say about, what's his name? Gosh, the other guy, Jerry Schilling. But, I'm sure they were close, but then you got Priscilla and Jerry being very close too. That doesn't mean that Jerry's a bad guy. It doesn't mean that they weren't close. But he didn't mention Jerry here, or she, to her. It jives very much. Now, did she know about this in 84, 85, 86, 87? Was there any books out about that? I don't know. I think Larry's book came out much later. And then, now we got to go here. Is there another song called I'll Remember You? That's not the I'll remember you long after this and the summer's gone. That song. I don't have a voice anymore still. I'm still tired. I sang Kentucky Rain, actually, for Derry Matera and Desiree and recorded it. That's part of why my voice isn't there. But, because 67, as far as I know, he didn't have I'll Remember You, unless there was another I'll Remember You. These are the things that I insist on looking into, because I don't want to be wrong about this. I mean, I've got my opinion, but I don't want my opinion to be wrong if we can research. Beautiful song. I don't know if that's the same song. I'll Remember You. And baby, your face was right in the studio in front of me. Work is all that keeps me going. The Colonel loves it. More work, more money. It keeps me so busy, I can't think. Now it's movies. I hate those movies. I wish I could perform again. The Colonel wants religion out of my mind. If he knew about you, he'd blow. That's why I can't tell anyone. They tell him everything. Now that's a good little point there. He didn't believe anybody. He didn't trust anybody. In fact, Vernon didn't trust Charlie. Said that there was a leak out there, and I don't know. And here's the other thing, which I don't know about. What if this isn't her memory of 67? Maybe this How I Remember You thing was somewhere down the road, somewhere later. I really probably should Google this thing while I've got a computer next to me. So, I I don't know. That I'll Remember You Elvis song. That's one of my favorite songs. That's why it jumped out at me. And I know that's not from 67 oh well, 1966. But is it the I'll Remember You song that I'm used to? I'm gonna, sorry about this. Just gonna go ahead and pop this on real quick. Yeah. 1966. Man, I tell you what, I just learned something. Why did I think? I guess because he sang it in the Aloha from Hawaii special. Gosh, one of my favorite songs. So here's something too for those of you that care about my Elvis singing. I need to start putting some of that stuff on Elvis and the Legends. That's one of my other channels, which I never hardly post anything to, but maybe I should start posting it over there for y'all. For those of you that care to have another version, that's me singing. Sometimes I sing a little like Elvis, and then sometimes I really mix it up with more of my voice and Elvis, just the influence of it. So, I mean, I'm never trying to completely 100% rip Elvis, because here's the thing. Nobody can sing a song better than Elvis. I got no problem admitting that. And his phrasing, for the most part. Nobody can phrase it much different than Elvis or anything and make it any better. Elvis was the best at that. So anyway, so if you're interested, I'll throw it on the Elvis and the Legends, and probably throw it on there before you guys even watch this video. So if you're interested, you're going to type in youtube.com/Elvis and the Legends, right? Hopefully I'm not saying wrong here. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll stick a link in the very first comment of this video. For some reason, I don't know whether you need to type in youtube.com/Elvis and the Legends or whatever. I'm not sure what the URL is. Anyhow, so let's continue. Let's continue with where we were at. Sorry, I'm a little lost here. I completely. Why don't you listen to my songs? Okay, we're talking about the Colonel Parker wants religion out of his mind. Here we go. This is where we left off. So Lucy says, "Does anybody know you're here now?" No, I can think for myself sometimes. Well, maybe you should go. They must be getting worried. Who, my employees? It seems like they're more than that. They think so. So what do we do now? I don't want you to leave. I have to. My life's somewhere else. But I'm only as far as the phone, so will you call? When will I see you again? Well, whenever it's right. Remember, God is deciding. He'll let us know. You've got Priscilla and your baby to think about. And you'll always have my love, Elvis. Our love has given me something very special. Someday, when we can have a few stolen hours, I'll explain it. He never suspected I was talking about our beautiful 9-year-old girl. Elvis, you must go now. Why? We both know. Things will be right, you'll see. We embraced. Elvis dropped to his knees and held me against his face. I placed my hands on his ears, and then he stood, and we kissed. This is a new era in our lives, El Lancelot. Are you still going to be here tonight? Yes, Princess Desiree will wait in her chambers, so not a single sweet memory will escape. I'll call you later, and in the morning. Did I tell you how good you look? Well, I was waiting. Have I changed much? You're as beautiful as ever, and your body's still great, and your mind is even wiser than before. I'll show you how beautiful you are. He swept down and kissed me passionately. It came close to knocking the sensibility and guilt out of me and making me give in to my desires. You must leave, sir, I said. Only for a short time, madame. This is a new era, you'll see. Well, I lay on the bed after he left, wrapped my arms around myself, drinking in my newfound happiness. He hadn't changed much at all. The warmth in his voice, the tenderness in his eyes, it was all still there, and I relived the whole wonderful afternoon and drifted off to sleep. This is what Derry wrote. Charlie and Larry, the friends that Elvis referred to are Charlie Hodge and Larry Geller. Hodge, a diminutive guitar player, met Elvis in the Army and performed with him off and on in the 60s before settling in permanently. He was one of the few so-called Memphis Mafia members who survived the subsequent purges and was with Elvis until the end. Hodge is the man who held the microphone for Elvis during the '68 comeback special when the spontaneous jam session started cooking. He was also introduced during the '73 Hawaii concert. Geller was Elvis's hairstylist. He was summoned to the King in '64 when he was working for Jay Sebring, the hair salon owner who later died at the hands of Charlie Manson killer. Wow, really? Really? He was working for Jay Sebring, the hair salon owner who later died at the hands of Charles Manson killers at actress Sharon Tate's house. Another thing. I didn't ever put that two and two together. Geller, a thin man with a massive black hair, looked every bit the spiritualistic Swami he turned out to be. Far from practicing the traditional Christianity on which Elvis was raised, Geller was into the Theosophist doctrine of Madame Blavatsky. Elvis became interested in the Theosophy from '64 until about '68 or '69, and read numerous books on the subject. Now, Geller was indeed a thorn in Colonel Parker's side. The colonel decided that the books were a distraction and ordered Geller not to proselytize anymore, going as far as having him watched when he cut Elvis's hair. Elvis eventually gave in to the colonel's wishes and helped burn the books. So now, I don't know, obviously that had to have come from somewhere in a book right there, that Derry wrote right there. If that wasn't there, then I would think that it wasn't written somewhere, so it had to be out there somewhere in bookland. Just, whatever, it gives me some more food for thought. That being said, does it sound like Elvis? Does this sound like Elvis's story? And this is 1984. This is long before we're hearing about all that stuff in Child Bride. Elvis and Kathy hadn't come out before, so she's not ripping Elvis and Kathy. I almost want to type in real quick while I'm talking here. Larry Geller's book, when that was released on Elvis release date. That way, y'all can look into it if you want, but I'll give you some of this. If I Can Dream was a book. I don't know when it was written though. 1990. So 1990. So Larry's book hadn't come out yet. I'm sure there's probably a list somewhere of Elvis biographies after Elvis passed away. That was probably before Are You Lonesome Tonight, Elvis and Kathy, Elvis and Me, Priscilla's book about herself. But Child Bride didn't come out until 1999. So anyhow, let me know what you think about it. Play a song or two here and leave some comments. Thanks for watching the video. I hope that I didn't leave you completely hanging there. I think I took it right to the end of the chapter. In fact, I did. So we'll start the next chapter for the next reading. And if you haven't watched the Derry Matera video, watch it. I just posted it this morning. Derry is a pleasure to talk about. Got to show you some beautiful Elvis records here. You know what I'm saying? I love my Elvis stuff. Mr. Song. And here you go. This was in the book. She's Not You. Her hair was soft, and her eyes were oh so blue, and it's just breaking my heart. She's not you. That's a great song. She even kisses me like he used to do, and it's just breaking my heart because she's not you. Is that about Lucy? He didn't write it, but Elvis picked his songs. He would have picked what he wanted to sing, what he felt. I'll leave you on that note. This is Ray Elvis Photos, TCB TLC.
She held him close to her heart from the very start. Through every joy and fear, she kept him near and dear, with a love that's pure and true. In everything she'd do, a mother's guiding light shone through the Elvis night. Oh, Gladys loved her son until her big old heart gave out. And there's there's no greater love than a mother's love. Holding her hand, he found peace, and all her worries would not cease. It shares a bond that never fades. It loves me tender shades. Oh, Gladys loved her son until her big old heart gave out. And there's no greater love than a mother's love. Found peace, and all her worries would not cease. They shares a bond that never fades. It loves me tender shades. Oh, Gladys loved her son until her big old heart gave out. And there's no greater love than a mother's love. With every note he'd sing, he danced on her heartstrings. A melody so sweet made their bond complete. Oh, Gladys loved her son until her big old heart gave out. And there's no greater love than a mother's love. Yeah, there's no greater love than a mother's love.
Till next time, this is Rare Best Photos. Tune in for some more episodes of Elvis and Kathy and Child Bride later on today.